What is the sensitive period for grace and courtesy? Sensitive periods are critical to a child's development, and they inform many Montessori practices. Understanding sensitive periods can support parenting, caregiving, and educating in many positive ways. Sensitive periods occur exclusively in the first plane of development from the age of birth to 6 years. They are periods of time when a child has a heightened ability to develop a skill or to acquire knowledge quickly and with ease. They can be thought of as explosions in a child's development that will serve as the foundation for characteristics that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. Others might consider them a type of compulsion, where a child becomes obsessed with acquiring a specific skill or gaining some new knowledge. For instance, when a child becomes so interested in learning to pull themselves upright and continues to attempt to do so over and over again, so much so that they skip their nap to continue practicing the skill without fatigue. Sensitive periods can help us as adults to understand a child's interests and to follow the child as we introduce activities that align with those interests and further promote brain development through the creation of a carefully prepared environment. Each of these sensitive periods provide us with a unique opportunity to greatly influence a child's growth and development. Some sensitive periods are so noticeable that even those unfamiliar with the Montessori method would be able to recognize them. For instance, the Montessori sensitive period for movement in the form of walking occurs between 12 to 15 months and is easily noticeable. Recognizing other sensitive periods in a child's development might be easier than you think as well. Have you ever wondered why a child wants to repeat the same song or story what seems like a million times? It might seem unnecessary to us as the adult, but these are classic symptoms of sensitivity. The repetition is never tiring for the child, and they seem to find great joy or peace in what they're doing. They have a high tolerance for failure within this repetition as well, exerting meaningful effort along the way. You may also observe sensitive periods by watching for a restful, tranquil state that develops at the culmination of the activity after a period of much intense concentration and repetition. Other characteristics of sensitive periods might involve mimicking and compulsive or obsessive behavior. Interrupting a child while they're in the middle of an intense sensitive period can result in a powerful emotional response like a tantrum. Break a routine that a child is attempting to understand and master, like getting dressed, bath time, or bedtime, and some children will emotionally fall apart. The terrible twos, for instance, are often just an exaggerated reaction to small disruptions in order that might not even be perceived by us as adults. This is because children are likely in a sensitive period for learning, and their work, their sense of order, is being disrupted. Being attuned to these moments of strong emotional response can also help us as adults to identify a child's sensibilities. Sensitive periods can manifest themselves in two very distinct ways. The first is a positive manifestation. Signs that a positive manifestation is occurring include intense focus, joy, and tremendous activity. These are signs that a child's needs are being met by the environment and that they are able to explore their interests fully. In a negative manifestation, however, which is the second type, the child's environment does not provide them with what they need to develop a certain sensitive period. This can often be very frustrating to young children, causing really big feelings. There's no set timeline of when sensitive periods occur within the plane of development within which they exist, or how long they might last. The timing of sensitive periods is unique to each and every child. The end of a sensitive period should be recognizable through observation, as a child will become disinterested in an activity or material and will grow tired of engaging in the task. Sensitive periods are transitive states. Once the aim of a particular sensibility is accomplished, the period disappears. Sensitive periods are never relived or regained. They do not occur in a specific order, and a child may experience multiple sensibilities at once. It's important to mention that if a sensitive period is missed, this does not mean that the child will not master that skill or gain that knowledge. It simply means that it may involve less joy and require more time or effort on the child's part to reach that mastery, similar to that which is required of an adult attempting to learn a second language. Maria Montessori stated that when the sensitive period had disappeared, intellectual victories are reported through reasoning processes, voluntary efforts, and the toil of research. And from the torpor of indifference is born the weariness of labor. Around 2.5 years old, a child enters the sensitive period for social skills, also known as manners. Dr. Montessori referred to this as grace and courtesy. Grace and courtesy includes the imitation of polite and considerate behavior, which leads to the internalization of these qualities. Maria Montessori said, social grace, inner discipline, and joy. These are the birthright of the human being who has been allowed to develop essential human qualities. These essential human qualities are learned from parents, caregivers, and classroom guides. Children will carry the manners that they absorb and establish at a young age with them throughout their lives. Some common examples of grace and courtesy include asking for a turn, introducing oneself, greeting others, holding the door for someone, how to handle coughing and sneezing politely, giving and receiving compliments, respecting personal space, and waiting patiently. It is also during this sensitive period for grace and courtesy that a child moves from independent play to wanting to build friendships and play with others, rather than next to them, allowing them to continue practicing and developing these social manners. To encourage and promote this sensitive period for grace and courtesy, adults should model manners and courtesies for the child to absorb in the home, in their daily lives, and with others. They should trust the child to develop these manners without forcefully encouraging their use. Provide opportunities for children to spend time with children of their age so they can practice these skills. And if there's a disagreement, help the children by stating what you see in simple terms. For instance, you might say, "Oh, you want the red truck, but your friend is playing with it right now. What can you do?" You can also help them brainstorm ideas by saying things like, "Let's ask if we can use it when they're done. I'll wait with you." Maria Montessori reminds us the sensitive period. It comes for a moment, but its benefits last for a lifetime. For parents and caregivers practicing Montessori at home, and for classroom guides, understanding these sensitive periods can not only help set children up for success, but it can also make our lives easier by helping us to help children remain engaged and joyful in their activity. Since most babies and toddlers are often unable to communicate their needs or innate interests, especially before the age of 3, it's our job as adults to educate ourselves and to help support them along the way. By knowing about these sensitive periods, parents, caregivers, and educators can begin to create a prepared Montessori environment that is tailored to each child's unique needs and interests, helping them to refine their skills and to develop knowledge during such an incredibly crucial part of their lives. We'd love for you to share with us in the comments examples of the sensitive period for grace and courtesy that you've observed and how you've prepared the environment and followed the child with this interest. And remember, we have lots of incredible content, so make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and that you follow us on all of our social media platforms. Have a wonderful rest of your day.